Hey, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed this exercise. Let's debrief it now together. In this exercise, your team had to initially deliver 100 story points. After the first sprint, they delivered 10 story points, and the stakeholders added features that were again estimated by the team being another 10 story points. In the second sprint, your team delivered 20 story points. This time, the stakeholders did not add any additional items to your release backlog. In the final and third sprint, your team delivered 15 story points. This time, the stakeholders added new items that were estimated by your team being worth 20 story points. After 3 sprints, the stakeholders ask you several questions. If you map the information from sprint 1, 2, 3 into a release burn-up chart, you can respond to all of the questions using the release burn-up chart itself. Let's start with the very first question. How much work is still open after 3 sprints? The answer is 85 story points. The second question is about the velocity of your team. You can either calculate that mathematically, 10 plus 20 is 30, plus 15 is 45, divided by 3 is 15, or you can also respond to this question in a visual manner, drawing a straight line from 0 to the point of 45 points that you've achieved after the first 3 sprints. The third question is about the growth of your release backlog. You can again respond to this mathematically or in a visual manner. This time, the answer is 10 story points. In average, every sprint your stakeholders in the past have been adding 10 story points worth of features into your release backlog. Question 4 is about how much work you will deliver or your team will deliver after 8 sprints. Maybe this is the date when one of your stakeholders or an external client is coming to see the progress. Or maybe this is a date where you go to an exhibition and have to demonstrate your product. Using the release burn-up chart, you can very easily project how much work will be done after 8 sprints. You can either calculate it mathematically, 8 times 15, which is your velocity, is 120, or you can draw a line with 15 as story points per sprint, and you will see that after 8 sprints, you will get to 120 story points. The interesting point here from a product owner perspective is that after 8 sprints, you don't get to more than 120 points. This is 10 points short of what is left after 3 sprints, because after 3 sprints currently, you have in total 130 story points. What you can do is to show this to your stakeholders, create that transparency, and ask them, which 120 story points are the must-haves after 8 sprints, and which 10 story points are nice-to-haves. You can also show this to your stakeholders and tell them about impediments that your team is facing, because maybe there are some impediments that only stakeholders can lift, which help your team become faster, which again will increase the chance for you and your team to get to that 130 story points after 8 sprints. Getting to our 5th and last question. How many sprints does it take to deliver the MVP given the current trends continue? Part of the current trends is the velocity of our team, which is 15 story point. Another part of the current trends is the amount of work that our stakeholders are adding every sprint, which is 10 story points. If we look at those 2 lines, they will of course at some point cross. If we move them, if we draw them into the future, we will see that this happens after in total 20 sprints, which means an additional 17 sprints to the 3 sprints that we have already worked on and delivered. You can of course also respond to this question using mathematics. 15 minus 10 is 5. So in average, we're delivering net 5 story points every sprint. Taking the initial 100 story points divided by 5, you end up with 20 sprints. Or if we take the remaining 85 story points after 3 sprints and divide that by 5, we get to the 17 sprints, which also the visual calculation or method helped us to get to. I hope this brief exercise about how you can apply the release burn-up chart helped you get a better understanding of how you can A, do some tracking, but also make projections into the future. And most importantly, how you can use this tool and not only the calculations to create transparency for yourself, for your team, and for your stakeholders. Because based on that transparency, you can ultimately find solutions. Those solutions can be prioritization, can be removal of impediments, or can be also postponing certain fixed dates. In our next video, we will close this module, and of course, there will be some assignments for you to do. I'll see you there.